Hello, everybody. Welcome to Lunch for the Soul. Wow, I have the most amazing guest to introduce you today. I am so excited for you to be able to take time. I hope, ask her questions, talk to her. Let's make this a conversation. You are going to be blown away by how amazing she is. So please bring in and welcome Kari Ortiz. Hello, Kari. How are you?
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm so happy you can make it. We have a lot to talk about and a lot to cover, and you have people here who I hope will join our conversation live right now. So I want to go back in time. First of all, I want to start with everybody showing what you've been through, and then we'll sort of traverse and go back in time. So right here, I'm going to pull up a photo, and we can just give people an idea of all you've been through. So things were going great for you back in 1999, and you were hit by a drunk driver, and life changed forever. But what I want people to know is how you have been able to put the pieces together to make your life about helping others now. And that's what's so beautiful about you. So let's go back. In 1999, you're in the military. You were going to college, getting your credits, trying to become an officer. And then what happened?
And then, we were celebrating holidays and went down and ended up getting hit by a drunk driver. He hit us going 80 miles an hour in the streets of DC. You never think about anything like that because, you are, in the city. We're not at war. We're not, in some strange country. And then this happens.
But you went through the unimaginable because we hear about these accidents all the time, but something happened to you that I've never heard of before. So instead of being able to get you out of that vehicle and fly you in a helicopter to the hospital, they had to fly a surgeon to you there on the side of the road. What happened?
Yeah, I mean, and he was a godsend. That was amazing. He flew in from PG County Hospital in a helicopter, and they did the amputations right on the scene, and he did all the triage and sewed everything back up. And the real unique part about it is even though it was done on the streets, many people have to get revisions and have to go back and get all their surgeries redone. From that time to now, I've never had to go back. He did an amazing job to get me up and going and walking and without any complications. So kudos to him, for getting me out of there,
Well, and you just talk about it so matter-of-factly. We're going to look back to back in the day. So this was a very special time for you, wasn't it?
Yes. That was me getting I was getting a promotion to sergeant. I was really proud of myself.
Wow.
I knew that I didn't want to just get in there and do it. I wanted to do it well. I wanted to become someone. And plus I wanted to be able to boss people around,
Well, you did, and then you ended up, unfortunately, in this hospital bed. And I just look at you. And so I'm guessing this was New Year's Eve 2000 in your hospital bed?
Yeah, that was a bad hair day that day.
Oh, no, it wasn't. You look adorable in your crown. You look absolutely amazing. Well, we have some comments coming here, and Peggy says prayers. So thank you for that, Peggy. I tell you what, I'm sure prayers helped you a lot through all of this. Did that make a difference in your life? And did you rely on prayer to get you through the hard times? Because even though you have an incredible attitude, you do tell me that there were some tough times, obviously.
Absolutely. What's funny is I was raised Catholic, and so many, when I was in the hospital, just in bed, one of the a priest came in, and he was like, I had a tube down my throat and I couldn't speak, and he came in and he was praying over me, and initially I was all the way afraid. I was like, no last rites, because I'm thinking it's the last rites, but it wasn't. He was actually, he was like, hey, no, calm down, you're gonna be okay. But I'm just gonna, I'm here to help pray for you. And my mom's friend, he was, I call him Uncle Bob. He was a police officer as well. He was a homicide detective, and Uncle Bob, and also used to be a priest. And so Uncle Bob, I woke up and no one else was allowed in my hospital. I was in ICU, and Uncle Bob would be there praying for me day and night. He was my constant company there all the time. And I was like, oh, this is so amazing. I remember getting out and still having my cross that he gave me from, this is a police officer who's basically also a priest. And it was just amazing. I still have it to this day.
Well, and Janetta here saying God is so amazing. And I couldn't agree more with you. Just to be able to see what you've done with your life is truly remarkable. So let's talk about where you went from there. So walk us through this photo. What's going on here?
Okay, so what had happened was I had after I got injured, I started playing wheelchair basketball at the University of Illinois. From there, I moved on to try sitting volleyball, which that's me at the University of Illinois. And at National Rehab Hospital. But I started playing. I was asked to be a part of the Paralympic team. I try out for the Paralympic team. I didn't necessarily make it. Yeah, that's me as an Illini there. I love those days.
But you had played a lot of basketball before you started playing it in a wheelchair, right? So it somewhat came naturally to you.
Yes, absolutely. My mom was the coach for the women's basketball team through elementary and such. So I came up playing basketball. Like that was what we do. If I got bored, I would go out and play basketball. But I started playing basketball, was asked to try out for the Paralympic team. I didn't make it. One of my teammates ended up getting the spot she was bigger and better, unfortunately. But I ended up trying sitting volleyball and falling in love with it. And from there, I went to college at UCO as well and trained. And then I got introduced in the track and field where I ran. I was not the best, but it was an awesome sport. Some things you don't have to be the best in and still enjoy. So that's how I ended up, getting out there on my prosthetics and running. For me, I used to always run. I would run and play basketball when I had legs. So it was a totally different experience. It was like learning a foreign language, all over again.
How difficult was it to learn? Because it seems almost dangerous when I take a look and when I watch athletes do this, it is remarkable to see the strength and what it takes and the determination. And I look at your face there, and I mean, you are a woman on a mission, girl.
I'm thinking, please don't fall.
Yeah.
But it's like, that's what I was saying. It's like a whole nother, it's like learning how to walk for the first time. It's totally different. For me, I have one knee and then I have a mechanical knee. So I'm running differently on both sides, and you're trying to drive that and move it forward. And I think that the thing about individuals with disabilities is that, especially in sport, is that they make these things look way easier than they are. I have to think about balance. I have to think about kicking that leg out. I'm not just driving and running, right? Nothing's just automatic.
How did you learn to do that? Was it almost baby steps and starting slowly and then just gaining your speed and gaining your strength and your thoughts that you can do it? Was there ever a period of being fearful of getting hurt from doing it?
Yes, absolutely. When you first get on them, it's scary because it's a bouncy thing. So you get up there and you start, you run. But here's the thing. From wheelchair basketball, where I have Bill Denby, if you saw in the basket where I'm sitting and playing in the chair, not that one, but the whole team one. Right there, he's the guy in the red pants. So even from there, Bill Denby was one of the first. He was a double below knee amputee from, I think, the Vietnam era, and we always had a group. So he's the first person who taught me how to walk without a cane. Right? His team, we went on a wheelchair basketball thing, and they took my cane. And they're like, oh, you don't need that. Just we were on a flight. He put it up there. He's like, oh, we'll grab it. And from that point on, we didn't. And then for track and field, I had Roderick, who was a runner, to help guide me through it. In each step, we had people with like little guardian angels to help teach and help, guide me.
But then what was so crazy about that is you had played basketball before. You were really good in the wheelchair, but still no matter what, you didn't quite make the USA team. And I know you were devastating, but what did you do with that energy? You've learned a new sport and became the best there is. And you went on to be a 3-time Paralympian. Thank you very much. Sitting volleyball, many people may not know about it. Walk us through this photo and what's happening.
So here is us playing against China in the games in London. So China is our arch rivals. No matter how many times we would play them, we would go to China, we would go wherever, we would play them, and they would just put the hammer on us over and over and over again. And so this is us, I think that we're winning a set in the game in London. And I could just see like the energy of us being so happy.
Uh-huh. And look at you, powerhouse right here. You're taking care of some business.
Yeah, yeah.
What an exciting time to be a part of that and to be able to travel the world. I mean, that alone had to be very exciting, I would think.
And that was part of why I loved the military, because I thought I'd be able to travel the world for free and see, all these great people and places. And then to be able to do it again, represent my country in another way, right? Being named the best in the world at it and going on to, create a legacy from that. I think that was, I know that my injury was a curse, but it was also a gift. It gave me a lot of different avenues to my life.
Well, it's just incredible to see what you've done. And I wanted to see if we had any more comments. Yes, we have Mary Payne here who says, awesome. And I couldn't agree more. It's just awesome to see you with a smile on your face and you helping others. Now, I want to move on to talk about what happened fairly recently. So you got a call from the White House, excuse me. How big of a shock and how exciting was that?
That was amazing. We've been doing a lot at my organization at Move United, where we help individuals with physical disabilities to better share this opportunity to have adaptive sports. And so on the conference, I was able to tell my story, to be able to share and to connect with other like-minded individuals who care about health, who care about nutrition, who care about, how, this great country is developing health-wise. And so it was just amazing. Who would have thought the White House would say, hey, come over to my event and speak. Never.
That's incredible to see you there speaking. And I got to watch your speech and you were just spot on. And all the things you have done. I mean, it would take a year to walk everyone through it, but I would like to give them a really good idea of some things that you've done. And let's just talk about. So you went back there after your second Olympics and said, there's something that we're going to do here and we're going to make a difference in people's lives and bring adaptive sports to them. So tell me about all the things that you started in the programs and everything else.
So after getting a heads up from one of my coaches that made me start thinking about, hey, what do we want to do for legacy, right? What do we want our legacy to be? What am I going to leave behind? I don't have, kids and all of that great stuff. So in order to leave something behind, what can I do? And it's like, we have adaptive sports has given me so much. So I would like to be able to share with people who are in the same situation as I was. So Roger Nepple was working at the U.S. Paralympic Committee. And he was like, hey, why don't you come and help us out with this Paralympic military program? And it was amazing. I was able to start the Paralympic military program at Walter Reed in Bethesda, where we would get the service members right out of the hospitals, right? They right out of the hospitals and tell them, hey, come try this. They're in they go back to their treatment. They'll come play some sitting volleyball. They'll do some rowing. And what that did was give them a sense of purpose, give them a sense of camaraderie, helps them to build their strength, And it's amazing. I see a lot of them now that are going back and teaching other people different sports. They've started their own nonprofits. They've done all these great things. And that's just the power of sport,
Well, it's just incredible to see the difference that you've made because of some tragedy that you went through. You had some good advice you shared with me from your grandma, from your mom. What is some of the strongest advice that you could give right now to somebody going through a hard time?
That, like, I'll share the one that I had from my grandma. She was like, I had my accident and I had this great job with these beautiful floor to ceiling window apartment and the car, all the things that you think you want, right? And I was sitting there like, all my friends have money to go shopping and whatever. And I was like, Mom, I just feel like I'm just struggling. This just sucks or whatever. And the one thing she said was, Kari, life is like it's like a bunch of hurdles. You just go, you get over that one hurdle and you'll be going through and be ready for the next one. And that's what I kind of think is like, okay, this is a bump. This is temporary. You will get over it. And then you will go on to the next thing. And so I've always, that's how I've I've done it.
And
Yeah.
it's so visual, and it's so interesting that you're able to picture those hurdles as someone who's been in track and field and out there. And I'm sure that's even more of a visual for you, right? To be able to say, okay, this is a problem, but I'm going to get up and over it, and then we're going to work hard until we get to the next one, knowing that there might be another to come. What are some of the hardest things that you've been through as far as recovery? Was it physical? Was it emotional? What's been difficult for you?
I think it's definitely emotional. Figuring out what it is that one, who's going to love me, right? I was young then, it's like, so, you go and you're like, oh, who's going to love someone without legs, right? So
Mhm.
that was part of it. And then where do I belong? Who am I now, right? I'm not going to be General Miller. I'm not going to be people. So who am I now? And I
Mhm.
think that was what helped drive, when I helped the Air Force, I helped them create their community programs and making that connection within, once you get out of the service, once you get off of the base,
Mhm.
to be able to connect with other people, to have a place within your community who accepts you and helps you to move forward.
Mhm.
I think that's something that's important. And I
Mhm.
think that, also helping, meeting my husband, out in the world, not in the
Mhm.
military realm, helped a lot.
And so you absolutely had no problem at all of anybody falling in love with you because you were so darn lovable. I'm in love with you in a friendly type of way.
Right.
I mean, you're just your personality is contagious, and I feel like you're so healing for others, and you just make such a difference in people's lives. Now you're making a big difference in Houston and the greater Houston area. So talk to me about how you're bringing adaptive sports to for instance, the West Gray Multi-Service Center.
Yeah, so I'm so excited. So August 19th, we're going to be having sitting volleyball at West Gray. We want it, and the important thing is that this is inclusive. I don't want everyone to be there with a disability. That makes no sense. We are a community. We are a group. It takes all kinds. So we want you to come with your friends and everyone to come out, and we're going to build, and we're going to take our team to nationals to play against all the other teams.
Nice.
Able-bodied people with disabilities, whatever it is, we're going to come out and do it. And I'd also like to do another one somewhere else in Houston, on the north side, more where I live, so
Mhm.
that we can play against each other, not just
Yeah.
the San Antonio team. So it's
So
going to be
when we're looking at sitting volleyball, so again, you said it can be anybody able bodied, someone with a disability. It doesn't matter. You're just going to be sitting on your bobo to do this, and that's all you have is a bum, right, to pull it off.
yeah. So now an individual with if you are prone to having like breakdowns on your bottom, then that just
Uh-huh.
not for you.
Then
But
that would be hard.
yeah, it's very similar to the other disciplines of standing. It's just a
Mhm.
different discipline. So you're going to play sitting. So it would be
Mhm.
standing, indoor, outdoor, beach, sitting. So
Mhm.
it's all the same world.
Mhm.
And the only real difference is that instead of foot faults, it would be a butt fault. So you
Okay.
can't. Your butt can't pass the line or certain areas when you're attacking and things like that. But other than that, it's volleyball. It is just a different discipline.
Yeah, and so do you have a certain space that you're supposed to stay in, or can you sort of be all over the place and lean? How does that work?
So it's use what you got, so you can make contact with the ball with whatever you have. So if I don't
Okay.
have an arm, but you do, then you use your arm.
Okay.
You can move you using your legs, then and I don't, because there are different things that you get advantages and disadvantages for if you
Mhm.
have or don't have. So it all
Mhm.
balances out. The other part of it is that when you are doing your rotations, you just can't go in front of the person in front of you. I mean, to the right of you or to the left of you when the ball is has not come over yet. But other than that, it's super easy. For me, I'm a defensive specialist, so I cannot go into the front row and attack the ball.
See.
But my job is to make sure that I'm like Superman. So
Yeah.
that my job is that ball comes over and it shanks the
Uh-huh.
and I'm supposed to run, make sure it's saved.
I love it. Well, I am so happy you shared your story and your bright light in this world with us. And I want to have lunch for the soul with you outside of here. So
Yeah.
there's a chance I might be back in touch and see if I can stalk you a little bit.
All right,
I say that lightly and lovingly. I think we could all use a whole lot of your positive juju in this world. You're just a lovely person. And thank you for sharing you.
thank you. Thanks for having me. This was
Yeah,
fun.
it was so much fun. Well, thank you again, Kari. What an amazing soul. And that's what Lunch for the Soul is all about. So if you happen to have gotten in late and joined this conversation late, all you have to do is go to YouTube, check, look up Fox 26 Houston and then Lunch for the Soul. And you can find and watch this in its entirety and other ones that we've done in the past. And then next week, I have a really interesting couple to introduce you to. They froze their embryos to have their own babies about 20 years ago. And then once they had their twins, they said, okay, we're done. We don't want any more kids. But then they didn't know what to do with their embryos. So they ended up donating them. Well, 18 years later, their triplets came looking for them. So do they get to meet them? How do both families handle it? You'll have to stay tuned and join me next week for Lunch for the Soul to find out how it all turns out. Well, this is Lunch for the Soul, so you probably have a good idea. It has a really happy ending and a happy beginning for them as well. So I hope to see you here next Wednesday at 12:30. Have a beautiful day. Thanks for being here.